Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. You're joining us down at the Lions Den. We're at Fowles Park. Big clash today for the SAS FOX Memorial. My name's Troy Hardy with the Auckland Rugby League as we get prepared to watch the Mount Albert Lions up against the Point Chevalier Pirates. Joining me this afternoon is Mark, Chairman of the Mount Albert Lions. Hello, Mark.
G'day, how you going?
Doing well, mate. And look, first thing, I want to talk about the club. What's happening at the club, mate? What activities you got going on up there?
We've got a few things happening. We're trying to improve the numbers up at the club these days and get a bit more people involved. So tonight we've got Women in League, so we've got a high afternoon tea on for the ladies. So a few scones and savouries and also some bubbles up there for them. And carry on with a bit of music and DJing and a bit of dancing afterwards for them.
Awesome. Well, if there's no more incentive needed for a rugby league supporter to come along on Women in Leagues Day, then make your way down to the Mount Albert Rugby League Club. Mate, in regards to Mount Albert, though, that's not the only activities that you have going on. Talk us a wee bit through the after-school program. Yeah,
we've got a pilot series running with the study squad, so it's a new incentive for us to try and get the kids here after school, give them some afternoon tea, help them with their homework, so we've got some tutors there helping them. And for us, it's not just what happens on the field, it's off the field. You know, these are our future generation, and we want them to be good leaders. And so, yeah, it's going really well. We're having good numbers there, and something we're definitely going to carry on to next year and help grow. And look at even expanding out to some holiday programs, during the school holidays for the kids.
Awesome, mate. Also, too, we talk a little bit around Premiership football. The Mount Albert Lions had a wee bit of change, at the beginning of the season with, your head coaching position. In regards to how the Mount Albert Lions are tracking, yourself as the chair and the senior exec, are they happy with where they're at the moment?
Yeah, we're really happy with Cody and Phil and how they've stepped into the role, considering last year was their first year together coaching the reserves. They had a real successful year and then carrying on with the Akarana team. So we've got full confidence in these two young guys, and they're doing a fantastic job. And yeah, looking forward to seeing us there in the playoffs and the final rounds.
Mate, yeah, and I mean the guys, as far as yourself is concerned for today's match, how important is it to the Mount Albert club that they take a W today?
It's about getting that roll on, especially coming into the second round. We've got about 4 games left, and we want to get that momentum, carry that on into the final. So it is really important. It's going to be a real tough game, especially Point Chev. They've got a good team there, good roster. And yeah, I'm looking forward. We've got a couple of new recruits playing for us today, and looking forward to seeing how they go.
Awesome. And just on the club, in regards to the juniors, the midi mods and what have you, talk us through some of your boys, and teams that you have.
Yeah, we're going from strength to strength, from the under-6s right through to the 20s. We're up to with 217 teams this year, under 20s, but restricted grade teams. So we cater for all ages down here. And yeah, if any of the kids out there want to come down and give rugby league a try, great club. We've got our studies squad program, all about the kids. So these are our future premiers down here, and we intend on looking after them.
Yeah, they've got pretty good coaching staff down here too, so, to echo what Mark said, if you have a youngster that wants to play rugby league and you're in the catchment of the Mount Albert area, come down, get in contact with Arnie or someone at the club and come down and get registered. Also, mate, for Mount Albert Rugby League, there's a number of celebrations coming up, and I wanted to talk a wee bit around the 90th. What does that mean to you and the club, volunteers and supporters?
Yeah, it's a bit of a milestone, reaching 90 years, and we want to, we've had a number of events throughout the year. We've been celebrating decades from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and on the 29th of this month we're celebrating the 2000 decade. It's probably one of our most successful eras, where we won 4 Fox finals and also 5 Barter cards, and also our reserve grade team were in a number of finals that year, that decade as well. So that's on the 29th, and then in August the 25th to 27th we're actually having more of a formal celebration, so it's mixed up with golf, formal evening at the Alexandra Racecourse on the 26th, and tickets can be purchased through the club or up at the bar, $55 for the evening and also $55 for the golf. So it's going to be a fantastic weekend, looking at getting a few of the old boys back in and yeah, telling a few stories.
And do you get a few of the old boys, from the eras that you've been talking about come down and, participate in the day?
Yeah, we've had a really good turnout, and we need to do a bit more of this and get some of these older guys back in and reminiscing and telling stories. And it's also important for the Premier players, to hear the history of the club and the stories that go with it. And because a lot of them don't know about the history, it's about the now. So we find that's really valuable, and we're also bringing these players into the sheds afterwards and telling a few stories and what it means to wear the blue and yellow and the pride that comes along with it.
That's awesome, mate. And just in that, if you're looking for tickets, as Mark said, make sure that you get on the Mount Albert Lions League Rugby League site, or make contact through the Facebook. Now, in regards to with all clubs, supporters, volunteers are really important. So are sponsors. So can we have a bit of a conversation around your sponsors and what they mean to you and the club?
Oh, definitely. We don't refer to them as our sponsors. They're more our partners. They're part of our family of partners. And without these guys, we wouldn't be able to run the study squad, other initiatives within the club. So Russell Gordon Contracting, Marion Construction, Robert Cunningham Construction, Glass Projects. There's also Don Walker Builders and WH Weary. They've been fantastic supporters of the club over the years, and they've all played here and had involvement. So, like I said, it's part of our family.
Yeah, big shout out to Bill Weary. I know he does a lot of work in the background of the club, so big ups to you, mate. In regards to the two big major sponsors that you have, Glass Projects and Russell Gordon, what do they do, man?
Russell Gordon Contractors, they're a construction company and deal with a lot of concrete and block laying. Yep. Fantastic bunch of guys, Paul and Roddy. And Paul was involved as a player down here, and also a manager as well for a number of years. And same with Roddy. Roddy was a player down here during the decades as well. So yeah, great family.
Awesome, mate. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us in regards to the Mount Albert Rugby League Club?
We're going. We're going from strength to strength within the club. It's about, like saying about the juniors. These are our future premiers. We've got a number of young guys that have come through the grades that are playing premiers for us at the moment, and we want to keep on building on that, especially with a couple of 17 teams, 20s team going really well. They're in contention for finals football. We've got coaches down here like Bluey McLennan. There's Julian O'Neill, ex-Warrior player, Maddie Stern. So there's a number of players, that have played high-level football and coached at high level, and for us it's about installing those good values and principles and coaching and passing them on to the players, and that's one of the reasons why Mount Albert's been so successful over the years. We've had great coaches behind us.
I'd like to thank Mark for his time. I know you got a wee bit on today, mate, and thanks for sharing some news with us and the viewers here today. I'm going to get ready to throw across to Corey, and ladies and gentlemen, don't go too far. We're getting ready for the live match up against the main game today. Mount Albert Lions playing Point Chevalier, and away we go. And Corey, we're going to throw to now. He's going to talk to the head coach from the Mount Albert Lions.
Thank you, Troy, and welcome back. And we are joined by the head coach of the Mount Albert Lions. I guess, Cody, the first one, a couple of weeks where I know you've been a little bit disappointed with the team's performance, despite getting some points from those. What's been the focus this week?
Just getting that complete performance, really, like you said. We've been focusing on individual performances and collectively, putting a good performance out there as a group.
The Mangere game, obviously, it was pretty close there in the end. You sort of overran them in the final sort of 20 minutes. What were your impressions of that match?
Look, I mean, we clocked off for a little bit and gave Mangere a bit of a sniff, but I think it showed a bit of character. For the boys to kind of grind out that win. And it shows that, we've still got a bit of ticker when times get tough.
A couple of little tactical adjustments, I guess, from you, moving Marcus, your captain, back to the bench, and also I think using Dion more in a little bit more of a middle role these days. Just talk us through the kind of thinking behind that. Is it simply to freshen things up a little bit?
Oh, no, not really. I mean, look, we just thought that Dion was probably one person that could give us a little bit more direct running. And we also thought that Marcus might be better suited coming off the bench because he's got a very good running game, but he just hasn't had a chance to do it. So we're seeing how this goes, and it's been going good so far.
And I guess nice to have some competition in those key spots. You've got guys knocking on the door as well, and the luxury of being able to play a player of Marcus's calibre off the bench.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, it's good to have a good 13, and but everything gets undone once you start putting changes on, making substitutes, and then you kind of tend to lose a little bit of territory and momentum, and that's probably our focus, is just to, when we make those interchanges, to keep that momentum up.
It's a big game, and a couple of boys on Fox debut today. Just tell us a little bit about the new boys that you've brought into the squad.
Yeah, so at centre we've got Michael Butson. He's making his debut for the club, and he's been around the way for a little bit, playing some good footy. I'm sure he was in the Melbourne Storm system, and he's looking for an opportunity, and we're happy that he walked in our door. And we've got another guy that's in halves, Manai Osborne, well-decorated player. You know, he's played 20s for Newcastle Knights. He's been in the system with the Sydney City Roosters at Wyong, and he's also a New Zealand Māori representative. So some quality there, and hopefully they both play well for their first game.
And just finally, you've come up against Point Chev a lot as a player and now a coach as well. What do you have to do to beat the Pirates?
Yeah, mate. I mean, there's no hidden agendas. I've got some good mates that play for Mount Albert, and for Point Chev, and it's always a good rivalry. As a coach now, I still get those butterflies, and just that excitement of playing a quality football team like Point Chev. They're not the benchmark for no reason. Year in, year out, they perform really well. They've got some quality players in their roster, and as a player, you look forward to these games because you get to test yourself against the benchmark, and see where you're at as a player, but also as a coach. For me now, I get to see are we doing the right things or changing things? Yeah, it's good.
And just finally, we should touch on the fact that Mark Graham, I think, played under 20s last night in your team. Not sure if it was his debut or not, but nice to see those boys going through into higher honours. Yeah,
mate. Yeah, I mean, it was great to have, for Mark Graham to get an opportunity to debut. I mean, he's been in the system for a number of years now, and to finally tick that box and do one of his goals that he wanted to do, it's great to be a part of. He's a Mount Albert junior. He's played a lot of footy, and mate, I'm just grateful that he's put his hand up for us today.
Excellent. And the last bit we will do is hand you your Steeden match ball for today, Cody, and wish you all the best.
Cool. Thanks, Corey.
Thanks. So there we go. We have heard now from Cody Walker as well as the chairman of the club. So we'll now talk to a little bit of the Fox ladder, some of the results over the past few weeks, and look to build towards kickoff in this one in the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. So we'll cut now to our holding screen for a little bit as Cody goes back to prepare the team and get back into things. So great always to hear from the coaches, and I guess get a little bit of an understanding of what it takes to coach at this level. And of course, Cody, a new sort of addition to the coaching setup, a former player who starred in a couple of the grand finals involving these two teams over the last few years. So really good to get Cody's thoughts, and earmarked as a real coach of the future in that NZRL system as well. So I am joined again by Troy Hardy, and Troy, we've got the reserve game going on to our left here. Really nice day for footy, a gentle breeze around, blue skies. It's after the week we've had, relieving, I guess.
Oh, absolutely, man. And if you've got nothing on, ladies and gentlemen, get dressed. Come down to the main game. See what I did there, Corey? Okay. Come down and join us at Fowles Park. The main game today is Point Chev up against Mount Albert, as you well know. And as Corey's alluded to, the weather is fantastic and the ground's looking superb. So come and join us. And if you can't get there, at least hit the link online through the Auckland Rugby League website, and share, comment, get on the social media as well, as we bring the live stream to you free. and come and join us. So we've just put a bit of a shout out now for Zane, and hopefully he's going to come and join us before kick-off. And looks like young Zane is here now, so he's obviously been putting in a wee bit of hard graft with the Point Chevalier team. And what we'll do is we'll get Zane to join us. So I don't know how we're going to do
Excellent.
this,
So
Corey.
I will make myself scarce, and we'll hear
Jump
quickly
in, we're going to cut
Zane.
straight to the head coach. How are you, mate?
Sorry for the delay. I'm good. Good day for football.
Yeah, man, big day for football. So the boys are warming up over on the far side there. How you looking?
We're looking good. We've got a couple of injuries. We've lost Kevin Locke this week, Preston last week to a knee injury, and Nate Newton. But we have what we have, and we're real happy to have new energy coming. So, we're as good as we could be.
Now, in regards to the guys, you know, playing this season, new coach in here, you know, any pressure been on you, and you've been tracking pretty well. So let's talk about pressure first, mate. How you been handling it?
If I was honest, I would have here, but I don't. So, I've been all right. I don't tend to have pressure too much. I've always just relaxed, and what happens, happens, and I can't really change what I can't control. So.
You've been pretty fortunate. You've got a good, strong leadership group around the Point Chevalier Pirates. In regards to, you know, how they're tracking and where they're on the ladder at this point in the SAS Fox, could you have wished for anything better?
No, not really. I'm pretty fortunate that I've come into my first job, and we've had such a strong culture already built by my predecessors, being Grunter. He's put good procedures in place that we haven't changed the wheel too much, so we just came in, carried on what was going on, and just made little tweaks here and there. In terms of where we are at the moment, I couldn't be happier. Our boys are doing really well. We have dropped a game against Glenora, but we're building steadily, and the best thing about our boys is we're not resting on our laurels. We know we've got a lot of improvements still left in us. We're still gelling as a team, and at the moment the Fox is so tight anyone can win it, so we're not counting no chickens before they've hatched. We're just really relaxed and just trying to make sure that we get better week in, week out.
You know, during the course of the season, what's been the biggest game that you've taken a key learning from, Zane?
It would definitely be the Glenora game. We probably turned up with the wrong mindset, and they caught us on the hop. And Glenora have shown that they're going to be a top 2 contender. We learned more from that game because it was more our mental preparation. Nothing had changed during the week, but it was just a little bit of complacency, and I'm glad we had it when we had it, so that we can build from there.
In regards to today's match, you know, Mount Albert, the old foe, probably a little bit undercooked in regards to some of the size that they normally carry, you know, over the last couple of seasons, but it is Mount Albert. How important is the W today for you and the team?
It's a massive game. Anytime we're playing a team in the top 4, you get a real indication of how good you're actually tracking. Due to the draw this year, we've kind of had, easier games, but guys low on the table at the start of the year. So at the start of the second round, we haven't really been tested as of late. So we got Glenora we got Mount Albert this week, and then in 2 weeks' time we got Glenora, then Howick. So Mount Albert's always a tough game for the boys, so we aim up for it.
And in regards to the strategy for today's game, mate, what's the plan? How are you going to beat the Lions at home?
The only way to truly beat the Lions would probably he who retains the ball and completes will be the one that's there in the back end. It's going to go bounce to the ball. It's always been a 50-50 game. I don't think points won. Well, actually, I got told by Radio Sport this week that we haven't won here in 5 years since being in the Fox. So there might be a voodoo here, but we'll see how we go.
And, mate, finally, in regards to Dylan Moses, Moe, to his mates, we put it on his mum a couple of weeks back, and we'd heard a little whisper that he may be leaving the Pirates. Can you talk to that?
Dylan is his own man, and he'll make his own choices. I think at 33, his mum might have an influence, but I think he'll make his own call. But if I'm honest, Dylan's served us real well. If he chooses to go, he goes with our best wishes. He's been a stalwart, and he's the true leader of our team. It's like we've got a second coach on the field. So you can never replace a Dylan, but we appreciate having him. And while we have him, every young dude in our reserve grade, every young guy in our system is going to learn as much as they can off him, because you're never going to get a Dylan Moses again.
That's just awesome, mate. Well, listen, I suppose then part of your thinking, you know, at a strategic level, is what's the succession plan? Have you got, you know, people lined up to take care of the mantle moving forward for the 2018 season, or that come out in the wash for what happens over the next few weeks here in the SAS Fox for 2017?
Well, a big thing of this year, when we first wrote up a plan, it was that we left Point in a better state than how we found it. If we weren't blooding young guys early, then we would be struggling once the likes of Dylan, Siwa and Tavita leave. Our reserve grade is in the top of the table, and that team's averaging an age of 21. So we're slowly bringing in young guys here, there and everywhere. But at the moment, we're just focusing on next week. Next year will handle itself, and at the moment, we're just worrying about today and get through today and see where Tuesday leaves us.
Finally, mate, strike weapon, the young guy coming through the grade, who's sort of popped up and what name's sort of in the back of your mind in regards to this could be a goodie for us to keep an eye on?
Well, Eddie Pailiki, he's come back from Manly. He's in the engine room. He's playing prop. He takes a backward step to no one. He had a knee recon last year, so he's just been building week in, week out. It's normally the halves or the backs who get all the praise, but if we didn't have him going forward with Linga, yeah, it would be a different story. So quality's definitely got to go to him, and he's a big name coming through. He's only 20 years old, so keep an eye on him.
Big shout out to Linga too, mate. I've seen him go around, this season. He seems to have grown an extra leg and has taken on a wee bit more responsibility. So I think he's been doing great work for the Pirates as well.
Yeah, definitely. Linga's our stalwart at our forward pack, and he leads us, him and Tavita. And you got Dylan, who's the smart one. So.
Oh, well, I'm so shit. No, just say it to the stream. Yeah. Everyone around the world. Well done.
Send your kids to Northcote, not to St. Paul's.
Oh, listen, mate, look, I know you're getting ready for kick-off. We sort of kidnapped you late. Want to thank you very much for your time. Best of luck for today's match, mate.
No worries, and appreciate all the work you do for Auckland Rugby League.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Okay, well, while Zane gets ready now for the kick-off for the main game, we're going to ask Corey to come back in, and he's going to join us, and we're sort of setting up where we're going to be, and so Corey's back.
Yeah, and really good there to hear from Zane, and again, I guess get some of that insight. And Zane, another coach coming through the grades. Of course, his dad, Grant, was the coach here for a number of years, could have brought Point Chev back up through the grades to all that Fox Memorial success, and he has graduated on to the Vodafone Junior Warriors and doing some really good things with them. Bit of a testing year for the Junior Warriors. They've got a young team, but good to see those coaches coming through. So we've got a pathway not only for our players, but also our coaches, and of course match officials as well. So going to run you through a few of the results from last week now, and starting with the Crown Lift Trucks Sharman Cup. And boy, this is a good competition this year, Troy, seeing plenty of quality football played there. So we're going to start with the Ellerslie Eagles, who sprung a bit of an upset over the Papatoetoe Panthers, winning that one 28-24. Bay Roskill got up for a big win in the local derby over the Newland Stags, 42-18. And Ponsonby with a big win, 41-28 over the Manurewa Marlins. And the other upset being the Otara Scorpions, managing to upset the Otahu Leopards. And Troy, you're going to take us through some of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership results from last week as well.
Yeah, and there'll be a full update at the halftime report on the Sharman Cup action, sponsored by Crown Lift Trucks, and we'll get into more detail around that. If you've just joined us on the live stream, welcome in, welcome in. My name's Troy Hardy with the Auckland Rugby League. Sitting alongside is Corey Rosser from KiwiLeagueCentral.com.
You got it.
Yeah.
First time this year.
Yeah. And as you can see, some of the Mount Albert guys have just been warming up, and it looks like it's Women in League Day down here. They're celebrating all the women that do so much good work for us in the rugby league, hence the pink socks. So yes, update halftime report. Be a big shout out for the Crown. There goes the warning horn. The tugs are in, ladies and gentlemen. So to the SAS Fox Memorial, the results last week. Richmond took a wee bit of a pumping there. Howick beat them 50 points to 6. Glenora Bears 30 points to 0 over Papakura Sea Eagles. That must have been a shock, let alone an upset. So Papakura yet to get out of the break, out of the blocks there. Te Atatu were 40 points over Marist at 12. Now, was that a shock upset?
Huge result. Huge for Te Atatu as well. It takes them off the bottom of the ladder. So massive result there for Revel Neil, Troy. And again, you know, we've talked about it a few times this year. The pedal at the bottom of the ladder and the Fox is just as good as the one at the top right now. So fascinating stuff at both ends of the table, but a massive result for the Roosters.
Yes, I know Rev and the boys down there will be very, very pleased with that result. Point Chevalier against Northcote Tigers, 34-16, and I'm to understand Northcote actually, you know, whilst the scoreboard doesn't reflect, you know, how close that game was, the Northcote Tigers stood up in that match. And then, of course, we can talk to the Mount Albert game up against Mangere East Hawks. You know, you've just interviewed the head coach from the Lions. Whilst Mount Albert won that game 30 points to 14, Mangere East were actually out in front at one point and doing very, very well. They had the medal on the Lions there, you know, deep into the second half, and then there was a break by the Lions, and looked like they were going to score. He got tracked down pretty well. You know, the defender got in, tackled him, held him down. Referee blew it up because there was too much time on the tackle, and basically he got binned. So at that point, Mount Albert then really came home in the last 10 minutes of that match.
Yeah, changed the game, that one, and that was also a big result, of course, with losing Mangere East go bottom of the ladder. And we are now going to have a look at the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership ladder and take you through the current standings. So at the top, today's team, the Point Chevrolet Pirates, have only lost one game this year, 12 victories to their name. They sit 4 points clear at the top of the ladder. The race for second really starting to heat up now. The Howick Hornets and Glenora Bears currently locked on 20 points each with 10 wins apiece. And the Mount Albert Lions in fourth position on 19. They've pretty much secured that top four spot. We're getting to the point of the season where we pretty much know who is going to be in the playoffs, but certainly plenty of jostling to go on there. The Papakura Seagulls, the defending champions, it's been a tough old year for the Seagulls. They've lost a few players, had a bit of hard luck with injuries. They are sitting fifth right now, and it's pretty much do or die for them at this stage as they sit 6 points outside of the playoff positions. They're followed up by Northcote on 9 points, Marist on 8, Richmond on 8, Te Aratu on 5, and we mentioned what a big result that was for them last week, going 1 point clear of the bottom. And currently sitting at the bottom of the table, the Mangere East Hawks, who put in a pretty good performance last week. Troy ultimately didn't come up with any rewards, but I guess plenty of reason to believe that Mangere East can get a couple of results before the end of the year and try and get away from the bottom of the ladder. Yeah,
absolutely. And as you said, mate, there's a big clash around the bottom of the ladder, and that's keeping all of the SAS Fox really, really interesting in regards to where teams are going to top out for the 2017 season. So there's my first arm for the day. Let's see how many of those we crank out, Corey. But it's a fabulous day down here, and as we said earlier, if you can't join us, you know, Fowles Park certainly turning it on today, ladies and gentlemen. The sun is out. It's a great day for footy, and you know, if you can't get here, at least get on the live stream being supplied to you by the ARL. And there's the final hooter as we get the teams get ready to come down, and throw back to Corey.
Yes, and the hooter, of course, tells us that it's time to run you through the two teams who are going to take the field today, and we will very quickly get the team lists up for both teams. We're only minutes away from kickoff here at Fowles Park, and it's really nice conditions for footy today. The sun is out, little light breeze around to keep everyone cool, but of course with the weather we've had all through Auckland this week, just thankful that it's not raining, and we've got a nice dry pitch. So here are the teams, and there are a couple of changes from that which appear on your screen. So at the back, it's Cortez Taulu. The wingers are Mark Graham and Jordan Tua. In the centres, we've got a player on Fox debut, Michael Butson, joins Corey Sita. In the halves, another Fox player on debut, Manaia Osborne. Of course, we've seen him in action for the New Zealand Māori over the last couple of seasons. He joins Trent Wallace. Up in the front row, it's the Passinis, Leo Pepper and Kitiona, and the starting hooker is Isaac Miski. In the back row, Jared Tua joins Dion Snell with Joseph Price locking the scrum. And on the bench, the captain for the Mount Albert Lions, Marcus Fraser. He joins Rory Ropati, Paulos Latu and Tony Ulopau. So that is your Russell Gordon Contractors Mount Albert Lions team. And moving across to the Ortex Point Chevrolet Pirates. At the back, a familiar name, Siwa Otonuku. On the wings, Saula Solomona joins Setavini Ipolo. Of course, those two brothers. We've got a third brother in the team as well, who we'll touch on later in the team list. So Marlo Solomona and Mati Faitoa are the centres. In the halves, Francis Ledger, his first year back in Auckland after spending a fair bit of time over in Australia. And he is joined by the experienced Jeremiah Pai. Of course, Jeremiah, 35 years of age, vastly experienced at higher levels, played with the Warriors way back in 2002. I think he was a member of their squad, and has sort of been a familiar face around the Fox Memorial Premiership over the last few years. In the front row for them, Troy touched on it in the pre-match interview with Zane Polkington, Selinga Kapau joins Eddie Paileki, those two providing some really good go forward for the Pirates. And in the number 9 jersey, it's the veteran, another veteran in the squad, and boy, they do have some experience. Tavita Latu will be the man retrieving the ball from the bottom of the ruck. In the back row, Sione Fiel joins Abraham Papali'i, and Dylan Moses locks the scrum. On the bench, Jonah Sofili, Sioli Makawi, Sione Hufwanga and Satu Sio. So that is your Ortex Point Chevrolet Pirates team for today. As we did mention, a couple of changes from that which will appear on the list as the teams now make their way down onto the field.
And if you've just joined us, to all the fans around the world, around Auckland, around New Zealand and Australia, we've got a lot of fans. I know there's a lot of Pirates fans that are joining us in from in from Australia, so a big shout out to Barry Glennon, a stalwart of the Pirates Club, and I dare say Lance Courtney, Mark Guinea, the Mitchell boys, and the number of others, the little Hurleys, big Hurley, little Hurleys, they'll all be on, wanting to see Pirates, you know, step out today and do the job. And if you've just joined us, here comes the mighty Lions, and they're on today with a lolly scramble going off in the background. And Lorraine, that's your boy, so have a word to him when he gets home, please. Big shout for everyone down there at Te Araha again. Jugs are free, so that should be flowing. And we see the Mount Albert Lions give a big hoorah, and they're in the pink socks today as we celebrate the Women in League.
Yeah, awesome to see Mount Albert acknowledging the Women of League round. Of course, we did live stream the Women of League festivities last weekend, which was a really cool day out at Cornwall Park. So great to see the Lions getting amongst it, and got a nice little reserved area up in the club rooms with the ladies, having a bit of a high tea today as well. So a big shout out to the Mount Albert Club for their efforts in promoting this. So it is going to be the Lions who get us underway. And of course, these two teams coming into this one with Point Chevalier at the top of the ladder, and Mount Albert currently sitting fourth. So a huge game, particularly for the Lions, to try and wrap up that fourth position. So we are underway here, and it will be Point Chev with the first run of the game, and it's a big carry off the back there, I think, from Siwa Otonuku. So straight into it here. Mania Osborne getting involved, so two players on Fox debut in this one, Troy. A bit of a rarity, and I guess a heck of a game to throw them into. This one is traditionally such a big rivalry. You know, how are you expecting they'll handle that one?
Mate, I think they'll be driving on excitement and adrenaline. And oh, a great run by Salinga. Good meters there, mate. Well done. He's got to get up, play the ball quickly. Point Chevalier's got a lot of energy on the attack. Yeah, so I think they'll thrive in today's match, and they'll be looking to turn in a good one, Corey.
So good carry forward there from Paileki, hands it off to Jeremiah Pai, who goes towards the sticks, but well fielded at the back by Taulu. And Cortez playing some really good footy. He's been in the KiwiLeagueCentral.com Team of the Week the last few weeks, and really doing well at the back for the Mount Albert Lions. So a couple of appeals there for a penalty, nothing forthcoming, so the Lions continue to work it out. Price carries up over the 20.
Good, strong carry. A lot of communication happening out there in the Mount Albert Lions team. They're looking to shift it around the park.
So Miski hands out towards the left. Kitiona Pasini takes up towards halfway. Miski out to the back door, and it is going to be Wallace with the first kick. And finds Otonuku on the full, so big return there from Siwa as well. So a couple of really big carries early on in this one.
He got intimate with a chest plate there. You could hear the collision from here.
Jeremiah Pai now moving into dummy half. And we have the first penalty of the game. Plenty of talk going on there from Jeremiah at the bottom of the ruck. You hear plenty of that today, Troy.
Yeah,
a renowned chirper is Wax.
Yeah, he's certainly got the chat on him, and he doesn't mind talking to his own teammates as well as the opposition. And if he thinks that, you know, some of his boys are shirking it, he doesn't hold back. You don't have to ponder it for long. He's giving it to them.
And the kick has failed to find touch, so a big mistake there from Point Chevalier. So advantage Mount Albert once again as Taulu takes the ball forward. And look at the talk going on at Tommy Half, Troy.
Yeah.
Just constantly appealing for penalties there. And as we see, a bit of a lifting tackle at the end and a bit of push and shove. And hello.
We're all off to the barbecue. The invitations are out.
Earlier than usual this week, Troy, but yeah, I don't think there was really any intent in that one. It looked like a bit of an awkward tackle. Someone got caught under him and then ended up in a dangerous position. So fair enough that it is a penalty, but nothing too untoward there from the boys. So Mount Albert now will kick for touch.
Steve, the referee's got it all in hand. He's had a wee bit of a conversation with them all, and everything's calmed down, and Mount Albert kicked for touch. And that would have to be a very awkward kick as it smashes into the bonnet of the CTAS vehicle. And yet the cameraman films on.
So Dion Snell taking it forward. We highlighted pre-game a bit of a change of role for Snell, playing more of a middle kind of forward role these days. Of course, he was the Fox Memorial Premiership Player of the Year in 2014 while playing with Howick. And Cody, basically, the gist of it being that Dion's got a fair bit to offer in terms of direct running in the middle of the park, and he is certainly one of the best edge running forwards in the competition, so no reason why he won't be able to replicate that in the middle now. As Wallace gets hands on the ball, they turn it back inside. So Mount Albert now with the first genuine attacking opportunity of the game. They work it back towards the sticks. Price on the ball now, finds Osborne, little dink over the top. Chase is good from Mount Albert, but well cleaned up at the back by Apollo. And it will be repeat sets here from Mount Albert. So good set there from the Lions, Troy, and a nice little kick to finish it.
Absolutely, and if you've just joined us, bear with us where we're live streaming from today. There's a massive tree just to the right-hand side of us, and we're trying to shoot around that. And you may end up catching a couple of shots of the ball boys running down the right-hand edge sideline. So, as Corey said, started fairly well. We've gone up and down the field twice, and we're deep in Pirates Ocean at this moment as they try to...
Pirates Ocean.
Yeah, so I'll throw that one in. Okay, and here they come. The line's up.
Oh, and there's a huge hit there, and it was Tavita Latu who's come screaming out of the line, leading with the shoulder. And fair enough, that one there is a penalty, just a little bit off there, and play on. Mount Albert want to get things back underway, so Miski taps. And here we go again, and again, Latu leading with the shoulder, and he's got to be a little bit careful there just with that technique. It ends up with a big shot there.
There's a little bit of intent here today, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
he's plenty fired up. Is Tavita now as Joseph Price carries forward and says, hello, Tavita, I'll take it forward at you. Tavita says, come at me, son. And another penalty, so here we go, and a little bit of spite in this one, and we are just going to slow things down and have a little chat here. Troy Dylan Moses coming out, and it looks like he's going to call Siwa Tanuku out, actually, so I think we're running co-captains today.
Yeah, we are.
For the Point boys, with, of course, Marcus Fraser, the captain for the Lions. Not too sure who the on-field captain is when Marcus is on the bench, potentially Trent Wallace, it looks like. Having a bit of a chat there, and we did talk to Trent last week, of course, following the victory over Mangere.
So they're going to tap and run. And another big hit.
And
it's just going to be big
like
hits all day from the jukebox down here at the Lions Den.
If watching a replay on loop here as Tavita Latu just punishes these Mount Albert ball carriers, but back to the action now as Price shifts off to the left, and the Piscini boys both having big roles to play early in this one. Of course, it was always going to be a huge middle battle today. Two quality forward packs, and miss out Price on this occasion. Wallace hands off to Tour, and boy, he was good last week, was Jared Tour. Caused a lot of havoc down at the left edge. Now Price again on the ball, shifts it out to Osborne. The gap out here on the right, dummies to Buzz. Instead goes himself, tackled well with Jeremiah Pai coming in to finish it off. So Snell now into dummy half, out to the right edge they come. Wallace puts a little kick in behind, but it's well cleaned up by Point Chevalier. So really good defence there from the Pirates to defend a couple of back-to-back sets on the line. And now they carry out a yardage. And now let's see what the Lions have got in terms of, I guess, defensive intensity now. Ledger comes in looking for a little bit of work. They're not making much yardage early on here, the Pirates. Pai keen to get things underway, and good to see, I guess, running a bit of a dual dummy half system here. We're seeing Jeremiah get in and do plenty of work around the bottom of the ruck as well. Ledger hands off now. Saula Solomona comes in looking for work. Gets the offload away now to Ledger, who was met in a good tackle there, led by Michael Butson. And they've had a few centenaries for the club over recent weeks. Dylan Moses celebrated his 100th game for Point Chevalier a couple of weeks ago. I understand Tavita Latu did the same last week. And Saula Solomona, I think, due to bring up the 100 next week. So remarkable achievement, really, when you think to play 100 games for the one club. Hard enough to play 100 games full stop. And I think all of those boys would have played previous Fox with other clubs as well. So great to see the Pirates recognising those achievements now as Mount Albert work it up towards halfway. That's Joseph Price, Miski into dummy half. Michael Butson on Fox debut, good to see him involved early. We spoke to Cody earlier in the match, a graduate, I think, of the Melbourne Storm under-20 system. Price finds Osborne, the other debutant today, who pushes off the first initial tackle from Sione Fiel. Finished off by Jeremiah Pai, who gets a bit of wrestle in for good measure. Miski now finds Wallace, who looks to the skies. It's Otanuku at the back, and cleanly taken.
Yeah,
Play
really
on is the
tidy.
call. Good chase as well from Mount Albert. So Troy, hard to get a feel on it, I guess, in the early exchanges, but both teams trying to make their mark with defensive intensity, I guess.
Yeah, I think if we went back a couple of plays earlier on, there was a penalty to the Pirates down inside the Lions' half. They went to kick for touch, and Dylan was having a chat to the outside backs and didn't realise that the ball had not made the touch sideline. And then Mount Albert came on the counter, and then Point sort of just needed to find themselves, and I think they're grinding their way back into the game now as they're trying to get a bit of structure into getting the ball out of their half and playing themselves back into the match. So I think they just sort of lost their way there a little bit, but are now certainly getting back into the match. And also like to say, Corey, big strong crowd turned out here today at the Fowles Park, up on the hill near the club grounds. You know, it's pretty well packed out there, and down to the side of us, left and right. So come down, ladies and gentlemen, fantastic day for rugby league.
Yeah, great kick. Sorry to interrupt you there, Troy. Great kick from Jeremiah Pye down the short side, and it has gone over into touch. I don't think it's a 40-20. We're waiting for confirmation for that one. But a good kick nonetheless.
And if you have just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, our live stream footage today is on the opposite side of Fowles Park to where the clubhouse is. And we've got a number of trees to the left and right of us, and we're just trying to shoot around that. So whilst we're calling the game live, we do understand that there might be a couple of obstacles in the way, and we're just trying to work our way around that now and, you know, bring you the best possible coverage that we can. And as the scrum gets ready, back to Corey.
So Osborne now going to feed the scrum. Point Chev have a little conference of who's going to pack in there. And away we go. So back underway. Butson again with the carry ball. He's been heavily involved early on. That time Dylan Moses halting his momentum. Finished off by Tavita Latu. Miski to Tua. Price takes it up towards halfway. Boy, he's been super impressive this year, has Joseph Price. Another one with experience in the Vodafone Junior Warriors. He's come back and really added something to this Mount Albert Lions team now as Miski gets a quick play of the ball and gets out, makes some good yardage there. So a good set here from the Mount Albert Lions. 25 out from the line. Let's see what they've got. As last tackle comes up, Wallace, he's going to go to the sky. And as Saula Solomona all on his own at the back, goes up, takes it clean. Great take at the back from the number 2 for the Pirates, who adds a really good return, and he's still going as Saula halted by a great last man tackle there from Cortez Taulu. And a crucial one at that, Troy, because I think if
some meters here, Corey.
If Saula broke that one, he was away. He's got some toe on him. Of course, the last few years he's been the highest try scorer in the Fox Memorial Premiership, I think, for certainly last year, I believe, and probably the last few seasons before that. A noted try scorer is Saula, now is Tavita. Latu promotes a little bit of second phase, and they've got a bit of room out towards the left here. Sione Fell gets the offload away. Marlo Solomona now steps back inside. Mount Albert do enough to scramble across. Otonuku now into dummy half. Onto Pai, to Moses. Moses turns it back inside to Eddie Paileki, who stands originally, eventually put down. Last tackle coming up, 25 out from the line. Latu into dummy half, hands it off to Ledger. Ledger goes to the skies. We've seen plenty of bombs early in this one. At the back, Taulu looking cool as a cucumber and takes it. Gets up and makes a couple of extra meters. So great work from the back lines of both teams so far in this one, handling that high ball.
Yep, fullbacks have been solid in both camps, Corey. I think they've diffused a number of high balls already, and it looks like that's going to be part of the strategy for both teams.
And Point Chev welcoming Siwa back into the fold after a little suspension.
Yep, and he's looking pretty sharp on it too, just quietly. Big shout out to the Mount Albert Lions sponsors, Russell Gordon, one of the main sponsors, along with Glass Projects, along with associated sponsors RCC, Don Walker Building, Firth, Marin Construction, and of course famous Bill Weary, W.H. Weary, who support the club down here. And it's a fantastic day, and I want to give a big shout out to Arnie Cherrington, who's done a lot of work in behind the scenes leading up to the live stream match here today as Mount Albert start progressing into the Pirates territory.
And just on that, a big ups to the Mount Albert Club for some of the stuff they're doing on social media and their website as well. If you're not already following the Lions on Facebook and Twitter, jump on and have a look. Some really cool stuff going on there, and I guess taking that engagement with the fans to a new level. So big congratulations to the club for the work they're doing in that area as well. Back to the field now as Butson comes back inside, finds Tua. We're seeing Trent Wallace causing a bit of havoc down that left edge, commanding plenty of attention. Back in field to Taulu.
can't help thinking, Corey, you know, if the gears will change once the impact of the bench comes out. Marcus yet to come into the ruck, start speeding stuff up, so it'll be interesting to see how Pirates contain him when he arrives.
And here we go. We have.
Great try.
We're going to wait for confirmation on that one, and that is a remarkable try. Looking both ways, referee points to the spot, and it is a try. And
Johnny on the spot.
yeah, strange one there. It was a good kick initially from Manaia Osborne across the field. It took a devil of a bounce, which kind of eluded everyone, came back towards the park, and then Joseph Price, I think it was, pops up, the ball's there, and he says, I'll take that one. The easiest try he'll score in his career, I would think. So good start there for the Mount Albert Lions. Possibly a little bit fortuitous, Troy, but they'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. And who wouldn't? You know, that's 4 points next to my name on the board, and more importantly, Mount Albert are up as they come back to the halfway mark now. You can see the Point Chevalier Pirates having a chat underneath the underneath the crossbar down there next to the SAS bolsters, and they'll be having a bit of a conversation, as their head coach Zane alluded to. They need to contain the ball and complete their sets of 6, and that's what they're looking to do today, is excellence and some execution. Don't think the kicker's going to have too much trouble here, Corey.
Mark Graham to attempt the kick from in front of the post. And over it goes for a 6-0 lead for the Russell Gordon Contractors Mount Albert Lions over the Ortex Point Chevalier Pirates. About 15 minutes gone in this one at Felds Park. And a big shout out to Mark Graham, who made his Holden Cup debut last night in the under-20s for the Junior Warriors. They suffered a bit of a heavy defeat to the Penrith Panthers in the end. That Panthers team, a real gun side who have dominated the 20s over the last few years. But great to see Mark go through and make his debut. He's been in the system for a number of years, patiently waiting for his chance, and of course not the only Mount Albert Lion in that squad. Aidan Acklin as well, son of John Acklin. We've seen play some really good footy over the last 2 seasons for the 20s. So back underway off the boot of Ledger.
Good hard run.
Yeah, good first up contact as well by Paelecki. Back from a stint with the Manly Sea Eagles. Yoni Fiol there, across from the Otahu Leopards this year, playing some really good footy on the left edge for the Pirates. Joseph Price comes in looking for work, promoting the offload, but Tuvetalatu was sniffing around there, almost daring him to throw it. Now they come back towards the middle. Wallace turns Snell back inside. Good carry forward there from Snell. Miski wants a quick play of the ball.
This has been a good drive from Lions down the park.
Wallace to Tour. Brave tackle down low. Little dink over the top. Michael Butson on the chase. Cleaned up at the back by Otanuku. Good work there to read the kick. Was already in position when it came up. But an excellent chase from the Mount Albert Lions. So just as we say that, looks like we might have an inside the 10 there. So Point Chev get a bit of a leg up there. But real arm wrestle starting to develop here. Troy in particular. Little things like the kick chases. You just notice that step up in intensity in these big games.
Yeah, mate, and look, and it's, you know, we're 16 minutes gone. It seems really fast, eh? You know, it's gone really, really quick. It's been a quick game, and it'll be interesting now to see. They didn't really peel off too many metres off that kick. Anyway, here come the Pirates. 3 guys in the tackle there from the Lions. Meet them.
Latu retrieves the ball, hands it off to Selinga Kapal. He's a good player, this boy, of course, an Auckland representative previously.
Power to weight ratio, he amazes me. He's got a low centre of gravity, man, and when he hits them hard.
They've had a history of really good middle forwards in this team. We saw Chris Satai in action last year, or Tavita Satai, as he is known as well. And he was in the wider squad for the Warriors this week, so awesome to see Chris coming through. He was arguably the best player on the park in the Fox Memorial final last year, in a beaten team as well. So awesome to see Chris getting his opportunity, and right on the edge there, he's only 1 injury away from getting a run in the NRL side for the Warriors, and I dare say if they keep playing like they did last week, Troy, it might come anyway.
I'm not going there, I'm still getting over the blues.
So back to it we go, and the Lions now working it out. They've gone 40 so far, as we see some fresh legs on the park in the shape of Paulos Latu. Price now into first receiver, takes it forward, and he's got that running style, Troy, where he's sort of almost just threatening to step every time he carries, and just adds another dimension to his game. He can also pierce the line with his carries.
Here comes Mount Albert's new front rower. He'll be very sad to relinquish that number 12 jersey and end up with the number 8. You'll be looking forward to that, Buzz. Bet you can't wait.
So Wallace now kicks back across the body, but again, Otanuku reads it and returns it. The chase is good, but nice play there from Mount Albert, and they're going to escape. As Ipolo now breaks down the left-hand side, he's still going, cuts back inside. Taulu eventually takes him down with a tackle around the legs, finished off over the top by Tony Ulupau.
But a man still down in the background.
Yeah,
there.
Man down in back play. I think it might be Cortez Taulu. So they're currently without a fullback, and a heads-up play from Mark Graham, who's jumped back into fullback, but Cortez is in a bad way in back play there. I think he might have taken a bit of a knock to the head down low. So we will bring you updates on Cortez's condition. The trainer's out there currently attending to him as they take the ball forward now to Vedalatu into the bottom of the ruck. Moses on the ball, a little cutout out the back. Ipolo dances, but just goes into touch. So a relieving one there for the Lions, who are a man down in the defensive line. Cortez getting back up to his feet with a little bit of help from the trainers, but I dare say he's going to need a little bit of attention on the sideline, so we're likely to see a forced substitute coming up there, Troy. And it was a brave tackle from him at the back. He went low with another one up top and maybe just taken a bit of a...
Well, he's going to walk it off, mate. But I tell you what I was really impressed with was young Mark Graham. You called it early. He got back into the fullback position. You see him started issuing instructions. He started getting the shape all sorted for the Mount Albert Lions. And then there's a break in play. So great work. Hats off to Mark Graham. Fullback's now back into position for the Lions. And I think Mount Albert's had it going their way at the moment with a little bit of momentum. They've looked good on the ball. And it'll be interesting to see what Point does here on their D.
So Ulupau now coming in, fresh on the field. His second carry of the day, and it's a good one. Drags through as we see someone chuck the boot over the back there. Bit of a cheeky one there from Jonas Ofili as Mark Graham runs to retrieve the boot.
Junior, the head trainer, hasn't come off the park yet. So he'll be strapping that back on as Mount Albert start trundling down the left-hand edge.
So the Lions now into positive territory. Vedalatu shoots out of the line. He's on a mission today, is the veteran number 9. Another big hit there. So the play paused now, and a couple of words being exchanged, I think, between Ledger and Price. Wallace brings play back to the middle. Osborne, a little dink over the top. Again, well read by Otanuku. He's having a great start to the game. No surprise, of course, regularly features in the best players for Point Chevalier every week. Former Bay Roskill player. I think commutes from Pocono every day for work and training as well. So
yeah, he's a bright young man and very articulate.
Sione Fell carries infield. Ulupau involved in the tackle, 3-man tackle, and you just see the little extra efforts to try and get a little bit of wrestle in, slow it down. All these little things matter in these close ones, particularly when you're up against another quality forward pack. So Otanuku now hands it off to Pai. Good read there from Corey Sita out of the line, and Manaia Osborne goes low to try and finish off. He's still fighting as Sione.
Got to say, Mount Albert been very strong on the ground warfare. You know, they're keeping the players down. They're really slowing up the attack from Point Chev.
And a big kick over the back from Francis Ledger. It's going to take a bounce and then go into touch. So we'll get a bit of a pause. Troy, you touched on it earlier. It's been a pretty frantic kind of start to the game. Not too many stoppages. So this will no doubt be probably appreciated in particular by the forward packs. Yeah,
and I think too is that because of some of the old heads that are in both packs, especially Point Chevalier, they don't look like they're under any stress. You know, they're showing a wee bit of patience. And you know, I wouldn't be going anywhere, folks. This is going to be a big game I'm picking today.
And I don't remember the last time we had a game that wasn't close or you know, highly competitive between these two as well. It is the biggest rivalry in the Auckland Rugby League right now. And you would expect that come finals time, these two will meet again at some stage, whether that is in a semi-final like last year, or in the big one at Mount Smart Stadium at number 2 as we build towards that. But in the meantime, back to the action, and Joseph Price now brings Latu back inside.
I think the Howick Hornets might be having other designs on that, mate.
Well, that's right, and Howick, of course, deserving favourites for one of those spots right now, and it does shape that Glenora, Howick, Point Chevalier and Mount Albert will be in the finals at this stage, and you would think at some point Mount Albert will meet Point Chevalier and also Howick, Glenora, but we will see how things adjust over the ladder over the next few weeks. Otanuku now at the back, takes it beautifully again. Faultless so far.
Yep. Great restart. Oh.
Knee just buckling there. Good to see back to the feet. Bit of a sloppy one in the end, but play on is the call and we're all good.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Mount Albert in the wrestle. They're really putting the Point boys to ground. Great chat. There goes Wax.
It's a bit like having your dad on the park. He's following him around, telling him he's a good boy.
He's going to go. I know.
So making some really good yardage here are the Pirates. Out towards this left edge again. Solomona comes in to help out. Solomona finds Pai to Moses. Moses dribbles a little kick through. It's a good kick. Almost hits the SAS upright there. But eventually goes dead.
A little bit of push and shove down there as Mount Albert race back. Referee has...
Yeah, back out to the 20 for a tap. That one just going dead there. A little bit hard to tell on the far end. It starts to slope up the hill a little bit, the in goal there, but that one gone dead, and I think we do have a penalty for a bit of push and shove at the end there.
And if you've just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, our stop clock, our time clock is indicative there has been a couple of stoppages, and yeah, no, I'm looking at the monitor.
You're in another world.
Yeah, I was there, man. So sorry about that. Yeah, our clock is indicative. There have been a couple of stoppages. We'll be close to it, and we'll keep you up to speed as the game unfolds.
So back to it. Ulupau takes it up over halfway. Miski. They go right edge, turns Latu back inside. Nice carry there from Paulos onto the back, but just as I say that, I put the curse on him. Bit of a knock on and a little hello at the end of it.
Yeah, he was just saying, shame you dropped the ball there, and the Mount Albert line said, yes, it was a shame. Could you step away from me, please?
You can hear a few of the Point Chev boys just saying, yeah, Paulos, just congratulating him on the knock on there, which I'm sure Mr. Latu really appreciates.
Now, I'd have to say at this point in time, the number 18. Have we got a
Tony
name on?
Ulupau, yeah.
Yes, he's quite large.
He is a rather large human being, and actually I was warned the last time we commentated at Mount Albert, Troy, that he didn't appreciate it when people mispronounced his name, so I hope I am getting the pronunciation right on that one, but if not, Tony, please forgive me.
Yeah, no, Tony and I are great mates. It's either Tony or number 18. Great crowd down here too, ladies and gentlemen. Like, it's a fabulous turnout. There's great, strong support. And if you have nothing on today, as we said earlier, you know, come down and join us at Fowles Park. It's a massive game of football that's going to be unfolding over the final 60 to 70 minutes.
And again, the Lions are a really good example of a really well-run club. Just went into the canteen earlier, got a couple of nice coffees as well. Everyone down here doing their role, so really good to see things ticking over. I guess we didn't have much junior football on today due to the weather.
Oh,
as we see Falcon of the century from Sione. And it will be back for a knock-on, so we might have to make a little highlight package of that one, maybe do a couple of GIFs for social media. A famous Falcon there off the head of Fuel, and Mount Albert will get the ball back.
And a big shout out to all the volunteers, supporters and the ball boys today. You ball boys doing a great job there for the Lions, and keep it up, all right? But the play's down there, so go stand down there. You might have heard that in the background. The young ball boy said they'll be moving back up the field once they score up in the right-hand top corner. And here come Mount Albert out of the scrum.
And a pen, bit of a high shot there. I think it might have been either Francis Ledger going high or potentially Dylan Moses. I think Dylan's still down on the ground, a couple of pats on the head.
No,
And
Dylan Moses never goes high. He's textbook tackler. Young Moe.
Troy, a couple of interesting kind of dynamics in this one. A lot of these guys teammates at Akarana level as well. I think most of that team that won the national premiership last year coming from these two clubs. So there's that aspect as well. Plenty of individual clashes, and in a few months' time they'll have to be best friends again.
Yeah, mate against mate, and mate against mate.
That's right, the real state of origin down here today in Central Auckland, ladies and gentlemen. And if you did watch the state of origin last week, great to see the Maroons get up for another win. And boy, if they couldn't get it done in that one, I'm not too sure when New South Wales are going to have a series win. Troy, what team do you support?
Back to the Pirates, defending hard now as the Lions try to get on their left-hand edge. And don't you worry, it's always next year. In fact, you know my son's never known the Blues to win. And he's been alive, he's 12. He doesn't think that they've ever won. It's a myth.
So back to the footy now, and Tour with a good carry forward. A little bit of second phase starting to come out in Mount Albert now. So another aspect to their game starting to come in. I think Marcus Fraser now has entered the field by the looks of things. Nice little kick out the back there. Siwa cleans up at the back. That is a fantastic take down low. So great work from the kick return units of both teams, Drew. The wingers as well. Troy touched on the fullbacks, but some great efforts along the ground and under the high ball today from both teams. So now Chev look to work it off their line. We've got about 10 minutes remaining in this SAS Fox Memorial Premiership clash, and currently it is the Russell Gordon Mount Albert Lions with a 6-0 lead over the Ortex Chevrolet Pirates. So fourth beating first as it stands. Last tackle now.
A little bit sloppy in the play of the ball.
Yeah, tricks at dummy half there. Pai with the kick. Graham's up in the line, so Taulu's going to go back and retrieve and look to bring this one back now. But a good chase there from the Pirates really limits that kick return. On that occasion, Sioli Makui taking forward nicely. So Marcus Fraser now onto the field. Looks like he's had a bit of a jersey swap with Rory Ropati, I think. So Marcus wearing the 15 rather than the 14, which he was initially named in. So they work it up towards halfway now. Good carry from Dion Snell. Fraser goes for a little bit of a dart, and that is what he's there for. He's got that dangerous running game, and that's the whole thinking behind the shift of bringing Marcus off the bench now. Feeds it out towards Wallace. Another high one at the back. Otonuku lets it bounce originally. Back is the call, and looks up and sees nothing but yellow jerseys coming at him and puts on a bit of a step, but well taken.
Mount Albert, for this first half, been really strong in the wrestle on the ground. They've certainly turned the Pirates over and spending a bit of time on the old ground warfare. They're certainly muscling up there. Oh, push back in that tackle. Point trying to grind it out in this arm wrestle inside their half. Little chip.
Here we go, there's a little bit on out here on the right. Saula Solomona giving chase, that eventually just bounces dead. So some enterprising stuff there from the Pirates. Not coming off on that occasion. Just on the family connection in this Chev team, Troy. So we've got brothers on the two wings, Saula Solomona and Sitiveni Apollo, they're brothers. They've got their third brother on the bench, Swanee Hofwanga is coming off the bench. So we've got three brothers, all with the different...
I bet you the two on the field are giving the one on the bench each.
That's right. So don't be confused by the different last names. All three are brothers. And then for good measure, they've got their cousin in the centres, Malo Solomona. And I hear also that Arden McCarthy as well, who's not playing today, is a relation of theirs as well. So it's a bit of a family affair for the Pirates down here.
And Ards, if you're on rehab, mate, hopefully that's going well, and you know, you're back on the field soon.
So Mount Albert, you just get the feeling starting to take a little bit of a hold in the arm wrestle. They're certainly winning the field position battle. Latu now gets the ball free out the back. Osborne into a bit of space. Nice bit of footwork there to stand fuel up now. Second phase, here we go. Latu with a big carry forward. Another offload. They've got a gap out here on the left if they can get it there. But Big Tony says, I'll take it forward, boys. Try and get you a quick play of the ball and let's start again. Fraser, dummy half, left. Wallace, Tour, steps the initial one. 1, 2, 3 defenders in to stop him. Wants the quick play of the ball. Plenty of battling going on there, and they get the penalty as well. Wow. So nice work there from Jared Tour. Troy goes down and works hard, eventually earns the penalty.
Mount Albert showing some intent here, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. We've seen a noticeable step up in the intensity over the last few minutes, and Troy, probably no surprise, it's coincided with a bit more second phase play as well from the Lions.
I think we sort of mentioned it earlier. Gear change. Once Marcus came off the bench and sort of got into the ruck space there, you know, you could see that they were just starting to probe a wee bit more. He snuffled a few metres, and I think the service now coming is a lot more faster. I was going to say quicker, a lot more quicker.
One of them. That'll
do. In regards to putting the Pirates under pressure, and here they come again.
Osborne now. They work the right-hand side. Nice intercept there from Marlo Solomona. A bit of a volleyball spike up in the air and then regathered it. So nice work there from the veteran centre. Another one who's played at higher levels. Who could forget his 4-try heroics against the Canterbury Bulldogs. I think it was in 2007 for the Warriors, and they get a penalty there for good measure as well. So a good minute or so for the Point Chevrolet Pirates there.
Yep, and they need it too, mate. Like they need to start building a bit of pressure down the other end of the field, and probably for the majority of this half, they've really been just grinding out of inside their 20, inside their 30.
So Pai puts the ball into touch. We've got about 5 minutes remaining here at Felds Park. In round 14 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. And as it stands, we have the Russell Gordon Contractors Mount Albert Lions up 6-0 over the Ortex Point Chevrolet Pirates. Ledger now hands the ball out towards the right and is starting to make a little bit of yardage here. So that penalty, they're making the most of it so far, are the Pirates. Makawi comes back infield. Moses, second phase, here we go. Working now down the left-hand side. Solomona puts a little bit of footwork on. Well scrambled there, and Mark Graham getting involved in the defence as well. Pai brings play back towards the middle of the park. Moses. Sofeli takes it forward. Last tackle. Let's see what they got here. A little bit of polish needed on the end of this set. Appeals for a penalty as Snell goes down. Moses on the ball. Shows, goes, finds Ledger. Ledger out the back door. They got space here if they can get at the Pirates. Great defence, Mount Albert Lions.
So that's the first time they've gone close. And that was at the end of the set. So, you know, good work there, Pirates. Now they've got to contain them down here. Oh. And we're back to Whakatane again, ladies and gentlemen, beaming around New Zealand and around the world. Welcome in if you've just joined us, and thank big ups to the Auckland Rugby League, putting the live stream on www.aucklandleague.co.nz.
We hear a lot about Whakatane in our broadcast as well, Troy, which is always interesting. Of course, it is a beautiful holiday destination, so maybe that's what it's all about. But nonetheless, always a popular one with the boys now as Taulu works it up over halfway, and we get into that crucial stage of the game where points here almost count for double, really. We've seen it so many times where a try on half-time can really give a team a boost and at the same time deflate their opponents as Osborne goes to the sky, and I do mean the sky. It's coming down with snow on it.
Great hands.
Otanuku at the back, safe as houses. Graham chasing up. Beats the initial tackle from Sita, finds the ball back inside. They're not afraid to play a bit of footy down this end of the park, the Pirates.
Mount Albert, for the first half, I think, has had the better kicking game. You know, they've certainly used that as a great tool. However, Siwa's been pretty good under the high ball all day.
Jeremiah Pai now comes in looking for a bit of work, tackled by his opposite number, who he has a bit of a wrestle with at the end of it. I think Jeremiah and Mania would have played together for the New Zealand Māori as well, so probably old friends there. I'm not sure Mania would have enjoyed the little face rub into the dirt too much, but I'm sure all will be forgiven at the end of that one. So now Point Chev work it up over halfway. We've got about 3 minutes remaining in this one. Another high one. Taulu not going to get there on the full. It bounces. He's got a bit of time to regather. The chase isn't one of their best from the Pirates. but nonetheless get there and tackle him about 20 metres off the line. But there's the penalty, and it's just a little bit of ill discipline in the tackle, Troy. Those little second efforts. I think that time Jeremiah Pai pinged for an infringement, but a real shame because they'd worked hard to get the ball down there and then just letting Mount Albert out free of charge.
Yeah, get out of jail card. So Mount have found the touch. Ball's coming back in from the opposite side of the clubhouse down here at Fowles Park. As we see the settle. Not a bad run, he's still carrying. And a wee bit of a clap there in regards to the aggressive little tackle that we've just seen. So as you can see, Corey, you know, we're on tackle 2, third one here. They're gaining metres at will.
Big Tony there, tackled well, up high, shutting down that offload, battling for the play of the ball. A real sense of some feeling in this one from both sides as Tua takes the ball forward. Fraser now into dummy half, watch him off quick play the balls. It's not going to be the case on this occasion. Finds Price. Osborne to Latu. Latu fakes to go out the back, gets the offload away. Manaia Osborne, lovely try, and put it down to the offload of Paulos Latu there. Gets the ball free. Manaia Osborne backing up like all good halves should. Gets the ball and then a bit of footwork from there, Troy, and they're over for a try. Well-deserved Mount Albert Lions.
Yeah, great support play. And Latu's looked to promote the ball pretty much all through the first half. He's done really, really well. Mount Albert, you can see they're happy, men. They're, you know, this is where they want to be in the first half of this match at least. And I think it's going to mean a lot to them if they can snabble the W today.
So another kick to come from in front. So you would think that the Russell Gordon and Mount Albert Lions are going to head into the break with a 12-0 lead. This will pretty much do us in terms of action in the first half. Of course, our game clock won't be exactly on par with the match manager, who is on his feet, which means only one thing: the siren is about to go. So that will likely be a close of the first half action here in round 14 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. If you are joining us for the first time, a big thank you. We have been bringing you games all year between the Crown Lift Trucks Sharman Cup and later on this year the SAS College Rugby League as well. So looking forward to that as Graham now lines up our kick.
And ladies and gentlemen, don't go away at the halftime break. We're going to go early to the Sharman Cup update report, and we'll make certain that our CTAS programmer there, who happily provides as the kick is successful and the flags go up. As the halftime siren is sounded, we're going to give you a quick update in regards to the Sharman Cup and how they're tracking, sponsored by Crown Lift Trucks. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Auckland Rugby League halftime reports. Sorry that Tale's away. She's ill, so Greg sent her home, and a big fellow will be here to help carry her load. We're going to have a quick update, snapshot report on the Crown Lift Trucks Sharman Cup action, and we're going to start with the plate first. Greg, how's it? How are the results from last week?
Yeah, hi Troy. The results from last week, Waitamata winners over Manukau, and East Coast Bays winners over Whakaranga, and Hibiscus had the bye.
Okay, mate, and what does that make the ladder look like at this part of the season?
So, as we sit at the moment, East Coast Bays are at the top, Waitamata second, Manukau are sitting in third, and Hibiscus and Whakaranga are making up the tail end.
Awesome, and then turning our attention to this week's game, obviously there's matches being played as we're here at the live stream for today's game. What were the games and what was the main match?
So for this weekend, Waitamata take on East Coast Bays. So this will be a good game. 1 and 2 playing off against each other out at Ranui. The other game to get out and support, Hibiscus Coast take on Manukau up at Stanmore Bay. So if you're in the local area, get out and go watch a great game of rugby league.
Awesome, mate. And obviously in the business end of the competition, as we look to the top 8, there's been a lot of action and a wee bit of movement last week, and we'll just have a quick look at the results there, so bear with us. In regards to round 9, Papatoetoe Panthers up against the Ellerslie Eagles. The Eagles took that game out 28-24. Be fair to say that might have been a shock upset, that one?
Yeah, was a bit of an upset. Ellerslie sitting where they are at the moment, and Papatoetoe is in the mid-table, so yeah, good result for Ellerslie.
Awesome. The other game that was played across town was the Bay Roskill Vikings up against the Newland Stags. Bay Roskill Vikings looked too strong for the day, winning 42-18, and looked like one of the top teams to beat.
Yeah, both teams sitting up in the top 5 at the moment, so Bay Roskill just asserting their strength over Newland, and a good result for Bay Roskill.
This one will be close to your heart, I'd say, and I'd have to blame the strapper, Greg. Manurewa Marlins go down 28 points to Ponsonby Ponies 41. Marlins, what's happening there, man?
Yeah, I'm not too sure what's happening there. I guess a few injuries have come into play. Ponsonby played really well on the day, taking out 42 to 18, 41 to 28, sorry. And I guess Manurewa have a bit to clean up and to get ready for this weekend's round of football.
Awesome. And look, and the other big upset would be the Otahu Leopards going down 24 points to 34 against Otara. What intel do you have on that match?
Willie Bayer.
Yep.
On the other day, and Willie was really confident that the boys would take out a win against Otahu. And I guess the boys turned up to play on Saturday, and I think Otahu setting up where they are, the top 4, will have a bit of work to do for the next few weeks as well.
Great segue. Let's have a look at the ladder then for the top 8 teams in the Crown Lift Sharman Cup.
As we sit at the moment, Otahu sitting up at 1, Ponsonby 2, Otara at 3, Bay Roskill at 4, Newland at 5, Manurewa at 6, and Papatoetoe 7th. Ellerslie is sitting at the bottom at the moment on 8th place, but still a lot of football to be played.
So obviously with the Otahu Leopards coming down from SAS Fox last year, really no surprise that they're leading the top of the ladder, leading the charge. However, Ponsonby Ponies, bit of a dark horse. See what I did there, Greg? I get more funnier the second time.
Yeah. Yep. Ponsonby done really well so far, leading into this Sharman Cup, Crown Lift Sharman Cup Premiership. So I guess John Minnow is the coach there in Ponsonby. This is a new coach into a Premiership team, doing outstanding work at the moment, and I suppose they're all gearing up to get to the tail end and get into the playoffs. So well done to Ponsonby.
Having a look at Bay Roskill, still hanging in the top 4 there. Can't be underestimated. We live streamed one of their games, and thank you Auckland Rugby League for being able to do that at the beginning of the season. And couldn't get over the size of the guys that they've got in their team. They've really got some big. I'm picking they're still going to be quite strong in the last part of the draw here as we come down to the business end in regards to Bay Roskill still being in the hunt.
Yeah. I think what's helped Bay Roskill this year is the God Squad, which used to be a Premier 2 side. A lot of their players have come up to the top team, and they bring with them a lot of experience. Bay Roskill have always been thereabouts in the top 4. I'm not surprised by where they sit at the moment. And I guess they'll be continuing for the Sharman Cup title as well.
If you're out and about and around Auckland, there are lots of matches on, not just in the SAS Fox, but also the Crown Lift Trucks Sharman Cup action. And we're going to move our attention now to the Crown Lift Trucks Sharman Cup competition. And Greg, games that are being on right now.
Yeah, over in Otahu at Hedon Park, Otahu are taking on Manurewa.
And how do you reckon they're going to go, mate?
I'll be favouring Otahu at the moment, sitting at first place, but I won't take anything away from Manurewa. If they turn up on the day, they could cause an upset. Bay Roskill taking on Ponsonby at home. This will be a classic game to go out and watch. Ponsonby sitting at second place at the moment, and Bay Roskill at 4th. So I think they've got everything to play for, and both teams are going to be going hard. Ellerslie at home to Otara this weekend, so I think Otara will be the ones to come out victorious there. But again, given the football and the weather, anything can happen, and LSE may just cause an upset.
Mate, I'd like to jump in there and say probably they're carrying a wee bit of momentum from last week, you know, taking out the top dogs.
Yeah.
So I think Otara may well prove to be too strong on the day, and I dare say that there'll be a great vibe inside the club after beating Otahu.
I think so, but LSE at home, they'll come out pretty strong in the first 20 minutes, and if they can withstand Otara's forward blitz, I think you know, anything can happen. And given the weather, depends on how the teams control the ball and how they handle the ball will depend on who comes out victorious on the day, I think. It'll be an interesting game to go out and watch anyway.
Okay.
So I guess overall, you know, this weekend, if the weather holds out, it'll be a great weekend to get out and about, support the SAS Fox Memorial and also the Crown Lift Trucks Shaman Cup, both the Premiership and the Plate. So to all the clubs that are out there, I wish you all the best for this weekend.